Do I have too much tea? Do I have too much tea? It's possible. It's also possible that I'm just not drinking enough of it, so. We'll work on that. Welcome back, guys, to week 5 of the Homemakers Challenge. This is going to be a short week, just 3 days to finish up. Today is actually day 30, day 29. Yesterday, I cleared off my little hutch here in the corner. I've got all my teas and stuff on top there, and in continuation of that, today one thing I would like to do is in addition, that's like all my bagged teas and stuff, but I also have this whole bag of bags of various herbs and things, some of which I either grew or foraged myself and some of which I purchased. But I really need to go through it, and because some of these are several years old and really need to probably be tossed. So I need to go through, sort all that out, and then I would like to, this is obviously not a great storage solution for them. This is holy basil or tulsi that I grew in my garden last year. I also have a bag from this year in there somewhere. Anyway, you know, so I've got some basil and things like that that I grew, and then I've got quite a bit of stuff that I've purchased at different times. But this is not a great way to store them, so I would really like to, once I get them all sorted out, find some jars or other containers that I can put them in that are better for storage, better for storing them, and find a place where they can live, so maybe I can actually find them when I want them more easily. So I'm probably going to do some other stuff today, like in my closet, getting some more clothes shifted over to there. I probably won't film all that. I feel like I've been showing a lot of that. You guys are probably bored of it if you've actually been watching all of these. So this is, I'm just saying that to say this is not the only thing I'm going to do today, but that's my task for the purpose of this video. So anyway, I will show you what I come up with for them. Hi guys, day 31, last day of the challenge and last day of 2023, so let's go out with a bang. So up until now, every day I have been in the house doing stuff in there, which makes sense because, you know, housekeeping, homemaking, that should all be in the house, right? But there are some things, of course, that I think would fall under homemaking. Umbrella that could even be outdoors, like, you know, yard stuff and cleaning vehicles, things like that. But none of that's what I'm doing today. Get back. Get back, honey. Okay. So we are trying to do 2 projects in the house. We got a new fridge. We got a new fridge, I don't know, a few months ago now. Our old one died and we had to get a new one. And we got one with an ice maker kit, and we have not hooked it up yet because the fridge we had before was not hooked up because there's no line. You know, you need a water line running from your water supply at the sink to the fridge. So need the water line, and we also recently, like within the last few weeks, bought another propane heater that we want to put in the new bedroom that we just redid, and we also need a propane supply line for it. And both of those things require me to go under the house, which is one of my favorite things ever to do. So that's, ooh, salamander. So that's what I'm doing today. I'll have to move the little salamander so I don't crush it when I shimmy in there, and I'll have to see if I can keep these knuckleheads from following me. This is the first time I've had this open since we got them, so they're probably, yep, she's going. Goody. Kenzie. Kenzie, come on. Hey. Come on out. So this is my supply line for the fridge. I drilled that under the sink before I came down here and stuck it through. So there's this end, and now what I have to do is get it from here to all the way over in that far corner. And then I have to, when I get over there, I'll call Zach and tell him where the hole can be drilled, and pass it back up through to him. So, yeah. You get it? All right, that's done. Both of the lines are run, so now I just gotta crawl about 15 feet to get back to the door to get out of here and get a drink of water. There's a, thought there was one right here somewhere. It's of course we're at the end of December now. It's actually not bad today. It's like mid 40s, not too bad. But even when it's really cold and nasty, I had to come into here one day last winter. The water line froze. We had a bad cold snap. It was like -6, and I had to come under here to thaw water line. And that was not a lot of fun. But even when it's really nasty like that, I would still rather come under here in the winter than in the summer. I avoid coming under here in the summer unless it's absolutely necessary, because I thought there was one close here, but every time I come under here I find pieces or whole snake skins. So I would much rather be under here when they are moving very, very slowly. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Alright, well, we made it through that. Today is actually January 1st, so Happy New Year. But well, I made it out from under the house, but also made it through the challenge. Did manage to stick with it, which I'm really pleased about. So yeah, thank you guys, first of all, so much for sticking with me throughout it, especially if you've watched more than one video. I really appreciate that, and I hope maybe I've said some things that have been helpful throughout. And on this last video, I did want to share. You'll notice I didn't share any specific tips or insights or anything for the last 3 days, but to close out this video, I did want to sit down and just share a couple of resources that have been really helpful for me in this month, but also before that, within the realm of housekeeping and homemaking and all that. So the first is a book, and full disclosure, I do not own this book. I actually, to read it, I checked it out of one of my local libraries. They had it, and I am going to link it in the description, but I just wanted to mention that I don't own it. So I mean, if you do want to buy it, absolutely, sure, awesome, check that out. But I always recommend, if you can, check and see if your library has a book, or I also fairly often buy books secondhand using thrift books and stuff like that. So I always tend to recommend that before I say, hey, go buy this book new. But anyway, if you do want to check it out, you just might want to see if your library has it first. But anyway, the book is called How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis, and I think it's a really good read if this is something that you struggle with. And it's an easy read. It's quite short, and it's written it's really to the point, and it's also specifically written in a way that I actually really love reading, but it's written in a way that even people who aren't great at reading, who maybe don't have that kind of focus, can at least... It has like highlighted things like definitely read this, and if you want to, you can read the rest, stuff like that. So it it can make it faster and easier, even if reading isn't something that you're super great with. But I definitely recommend checking that out. It had a lot of insight into fruit fly. It just really helped me shift my perspective on a lot of things, like, that it's okay to prioritize function over, looks, and, just things like that, and, making your house work for you instead of you working for it. Just different kind of perspective shifts like that I think can be really important when you're struggling with this. And it also did give quite a few, like, practical tips and things like that. So I would really recommend checking that out. It was a really good one for me. And the other thing that's really helpful is, I think it's important with anything in life that you're either, I don't even necessarily want to say struggling with. I mean, yes, can be that, but just anything that you're trying to get better at, or if you're trying to get into something you don't know a lot about, I think it can be really important to surround yourself with your people, people who are, looking to do the same kind of thing, people who maybe have the same kind of struggles that you do, that maybe have more insight into it than that. Because, as somebody who is not super great at the whole cleaning and housekeeping thing, it can be really actually quite disheartening when if you look up a video of, say, how to clean something, or how to clean your house, something basic like that, and what you come up with quite often is a professional cleaner who does this, and they make it look so easy, and that's fine, But to people who it's not that easy to, when you're on such different levels, it can have a disparity that can be really discouraging. I mean, it would be like if you don't know how to cook at all, and you ask somebody like a professional chef how to cook, and they just start in like really high level stuff that you don't understand, and they start throwing out words like mirepoix and bechamel, and you're like, what? That's not really helpful, and sometimes it can just keep you in that, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get this. So sometimes it can be a lot more helpful to find people who are closer to your level, still that are maybe having more success than you, and that they might be able to help you progress. But it can be, I think, important to kind of stay close to within that realm, to the point that you at least can understand what's going on and can actually glean something from it. Like, it's not light years ahead of where you are. So with that being said, and this can be, you know, you might be fortunate enough to be able to find these kind of people in person, but you know, it's becoming more and more that that's difficult to do for a lot of reasons. That's just, you know, society's kind of shifting away from in-person stuff and more. But the good news is I think this is the one place where social media can really shine. You know, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups for a lot of different special interests that I have. And I think that can be such a great place to get insight from people who are, you know, specific to anything. And I'm in a lot of these groups, you know, about canning and, you know, crafting and keeping animals, different things like that, whatever. But basically anything. I think there's probably a Facebook group for it. And I mean, there's other resources, I'm sure, as well. That's just what I tend to use. I'm not a Reddit user, but I imagine things like that. But specifically to, you know, the cleaning, the housekeeping thing, I'm in a few Facebook groups that are kind of geared toward people who really tend to struggle with it because of, you know, as I've talked about in past videos about excuse me, like neurodivergence and, you know, just all of our brains work differently. So what might seem really simple and straightforward and easy to one person, it might not make sense to somebody else at all. So, like, one of the groups that I'm in is, I believe it's called Neurodivergent Cleaning Crew. And I think it has value in a couple ways. One, because you can see that there are a lot of other people struggling with this. You know, I've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks about how it can be so easy to get on social media or just watch TV or whatever, and it seems like everybody else has all these clean, tidy, put together houses, and you might think that, wow, I'm the only one that struggles with this. Well, you're not. And I think seeing that other people do struggle with it can help, for one thing, just to help you realize, you know, it's not just me. There's not just something wrong with me, that, you know, there are other people that do struggle with this. And you know, that's not to say that you can't still want to get better at it. I still want to get better at it. But it can help to know that you're not alone in that. So I think it has value in that way. And, you know, that's just a side note, that's one of the reasons that I really wanted to do this video challenge is, you know, I feel like a lot of people who are putting out content are, you know, trying to present, either they have a tidy home or they're just really careful to only show parts of their home that are tidy. And, you know, that's understandable. But again, it can be kind of discouraging, and it's kind of inaccurate, so it can be discouraging to people watching it who see that and think that just everybody else's house is perfect, when it's usually not. So seeing the reality behind that there are a lot of people that struggle with this, I think that has value. And again, the other part of that has value is that there are a lot of people in there who are struggling, who have the exact same challenges as you, or similar anyway, and they can share how they've gotten better at it. Say, hey, you know, I really struggle with this. I never learned how to do this. Hey, but I found this really good tutorial about how to do this, and I want to share it. Or, hey, I found out that this works really well for the way my brain works to, you know, divide a task up in this way, or whatever, things like that. And so I think there's a lot of value in that, in getting tips from people who are where you are, instead of always looking for tips from people who are, again, way up here when you're still here. So anyway, those might be worth checking out if you'd like to. And the other thing I wanted to talk about today before we wrap up this challenge is just how I see it going forward for myself. So up to now, In the event that this is the first video you've seen, my challenge was to each day in December do some kind of a cleaning or organizing task around my home. And it couldn't be the things that I do daily, like washing dishes and doing laundry, things like that. I didn't count that. So what I see going forward, now that the challenge is over, I really want to basically stick with what I've been doing. I'm not going to be filming it because it's been great. I have actually enjoyed doing it, but it can also be a hindrance sometimes to actually getting things done, to be like, oh, I gotta set the camera up or I have to move it. So I probably won't be filming daily. I imagine I will probably give an update after a while, but it's not going to be daily filming and weekly videos like it has been for this month. But I do want to continue trying to daily, do at least one of these things that in the past hasn't been a daily task for me. And I see most of that being in a type of maintenance, still kind of cyclical tasks, like just trying to do these things more often and, trying to make sure I'm clearing off the table fairly often and the different counter spaces and things like that. But I do also want to specifically, on a, not daily, but kind of regular basis, maybe like weekly, want to focus specifically on a not maintenance task, a little bit more involved, either organizing or reorganizing something, or that kind of thing like I did yesterday where we put this heater in, or building a shelf, or things like that that are a little bit more involved than just the general, clean this off and things like that. So that's kind of where I see myself as I go into 2024, trying to continue with this. And it's a work in progress. My house is not perfect. I did not expect it to be perfect after this challenge. I am really pleased with how everything went. But we're at my table right now, but there is still stuff on that end of it that I should probably try to clear off after I get done with this video. But I don't want you to think that my house is perfect now. It's not. Even, most, not all, but most of the things that I have done over the course of this month need done again at this point. Maybe not to the degree that they did before, but most of them have accumulated some small amount of clutter again that I need to go back through, and it's not a one and done thing. It's going to be cyclical like that, and that's one of the things that I've needed to get used to. Of just, this challenge was really about just getting in the habit of looking for these things and looking to do them on a daily basis instead of kind of getting blind to them, because that's something that can tend to happen to me a lot, is you just kind of get blind to these things. Like, I think if the dishes are done and that counter where I do my prep is clear, then the kitchen is clean, and I don't even really think about all of the other things that could be done in the kitchen. Just in my mind, like, that's all I need right now, so it's clean. So just trying to be more aware of these tasks as they come up, and just trying to actually stop and take the time to do them when I notice them, instead of being like, oh yeah, that needs done, I'll do that later, or whatever. Just trying to, if I'm able to, just say, no, I'm going to stop and I'm going to do that right now, instead of putting it off. So I definitely think I have made progress, and like I said, I'm pleased with how everything's gone. So I'm just gonna really try to continue with that going into 2024 and see how we can end up. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that this is helpful to someone else. And probably starting next week, we'll be back to some more of my usual type content of, I don't know exactly what the next video is going to be yet, but it'll, probably be a little bit more farmy and less housey. So Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful 2024, and we will see you next time.